Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Finance Committee weekly meeting, June 12th, Wednesday evening. We met to prepare for our town meeting and our special town meeting, which is going to be held next Tuesday, June 18th, in the high school auditorium. One of the first things that we did this evening as part of our end-of-year wrap-up is we were asked for a final request transfer from the FinCom reserve. The Finance Committee has a reserve fund which is budgeted each year for unexpected expenses and unforeseen expenses. And this year, the balance remaining in the account, I believe last week or the prior week, we had to allocate a little over $25,000 to the town clerk department for the special elections, that statewide elections that came up. And the rest of the money is going to offset the deficit in the police department. We had some concern and we had some discussion as to whether this actually was emergency or unforeseen costs, and we received quite a bit of information from the police department backing that up and talking about some of the problems in their budget. Although it is such a large portion of the town budget, in fact, none of us feel it's adequately funded. And some of the problems that they ran into this year were two officers retired that needed to get paid out. Other settlements, they have quite a few injured on sick leave. And all of that requires coverage of those shifts at overtime rates. And we had previously cut back the overtime budget. So it's been a very difficult situation. We received a report that the chief had provided to the town administrator about some of the changes that had been taking place and some of the measures they had taken to mitigate costs. But that department is in a deficit, salary-wise, about $236,000. And then there were some other training and expenses involved. So there will be further transfers required at town meeting in addition to the $49,000 that is coming out of the Finance Committee Reserve Fund. We also talked about the other transfers that will be made. Those numbers aren't available yet. I believe the town administrator and the accounting department are scrambling to get final numbers that will help complete the fiscal 13 budget so we can start July 1st off fresh and clean. We did get good news on two of the articles that we were expecting, and those are the labor contracts. The municipal maintenance contract, we will be asked to ratify that. The Finance Committee did vote favorably on that, and also on the EMS contracts as those have been negotiated, so we will now be current through fiscal 2013. We did receive more information. We've received budget numbers that we were looking for the actuals and the expenditures, but we've decided not to go into that tonight because we haven't had a chance to review it. And we did have the opportunity to interview two new candidates for the Finance Committee, which is decided on based on the appointing authority, which is the chair of the Finance Committee, the chair of the Board of Selectmen, and the town moderator. But it was just nice to be introduced to the folks that may come out and work with us. We do still have, we have 3 open spots, one from a member who left this year and 2 that are not coming back. Their terms have expired for next year. So if there's anyone interested, we are still taking applications as those positions are available. As always, we enjoy having people come to our meetings. I think it makes a more lively discussion, and I think it gives folks a better understanding of what we actually do at the meetings. So anytime you're bored on a Wednesday night, come down and join us. We're here at the Multi-Service Center. I believe we're room 228. 225? Well, the door is open and you'll find us in here. So thank you very much.
We've been holding back when people leave. when I moved from financial analyst to town administrator, we didn't hire another financial analyst. 2 reasons. One, I knew in FY14 we might not be able to fund the position, so I'd rather not bring somebody in and move them out. And the second is, I know that we need money. We're going to need it for this year to satisfy some of the accounts. We don't have a built-in 2 to 3% for the entire budget, which is probably something we should have.
You don't have any money to analyze.
So the end of that is, I'll agree with you that it is a revenue problem. However, after a couple of years of being a revenue problem, it's no longer a revenue problem. Now it's an expense problem. Because the revenue isn't going to get better. If you look at a 5-year projection, we may see some small increases, but we're at a point in time where now we have no other avenue. This is where it's going to come out of, and you're going to see the effect in a lot of other departments as well. So it is maybe a revenue problem, and maybe they can address that long term, but as we're looking at the short term, it's a cost problem now. It's a budget problem. So.
It's not gonna get any better. We all know that. It's not gonna get any better, so we're just gonna have to, Dominic, yes?
I just have a question for the chief through you.
Sure.
Chief, I know it might not sound good or it might not sound bad, but would it be something that, I brought this up before, some of the towns in Florida and stuff, half of their money comes from ticketing.
Oh, Don, thanks a lot.
Hear me out. I know no one likes things and stuff, but it is revenue. Would it be able for the officers to maybe be more aggressive in ticketing to help revenue, which would...
Given his registration.
I mean, we have a lot of people that just come down for the summer, a lot of visitors, a lot of staters. Here we are, whatever it is. I'm just saying.
Sure, this is a legal conversation.
Why not? It's,
No.
It's legal.
No, I know.
It's a philosophical.
It's a sticker, I'm local, don't hassle me.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, in Florida, some of the towns get half of their revenue from speeding tickets and things. I just thought I would bring that up. I didn't know, it's something that might help with somebody or not. It's just my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Tom?
As I understand ticketing, it produces revenue, but it also takes a person off the street because they gotta go to court.
Exactly.
Isn't that an inefficient way to get funds?
I don't know what the proper line would be.
It really gets a bad reputation for the town. We don't want to be in there.
I've got one more, and then we have anything new to add to this? Go
I
ahead.
was just going to make a motion that we approve the transfer.
You're making a
I would
motion?
like to make a motion
Second.
we approve the transfer for the amount of $49,297 from the Finance Committee Reserve Fund.
I have a second, Tom?
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion?
I did. I'm sorry. I thought that we only had 48,000 available. How can we give 49? Am I wrong?
That was a generic estimate.
Oh, okay. So there is that amount there. That's all of it. Thank you.
Okay.
That was when I pulled it up on the accounting
If not,
software
that's
today.
coming out of your salary. right?
I hear that a lot.
Barring any further discussion, we will, all those in favor of transfer? All those opposed? Passes unanimously.
6-0.
Thank you very much, and I think when you have a chance to look at that, you'll see the situation.
Don't let it happen again.
Well, believe me, I don't like this either.
I just want to go, but may I?
No, you're not on the subject, you can't.
No, I just want to make sure I understood. The budget for fiscal year 14 is 10% less, the number, than you're going to spend in 13. Is that right?
That's correct,
Yeah,
That's a bad budget.
okay?
Yeah, where are the breaks? I mean, how can,
We've already agreed, we don't want to go there. We can't go there.
Well, we can, but it's-
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Thank you.
There'll be a radar unit right outside.
My house?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can make big money selling
Anyone out of state,
local don't
please?
hassle
Out of
these
state,
stickers.
please.
Now, there's a revenue producer.
All right.
Just circulate the rumor.
Okay. Town administrators report.
Thank you. Let's see. The other thing I'd like to bring before you is, did we have anything for the other articles on the special town meeting for?
We have it on the agenda.
Okay.
You said you had some additions?
Yes, I did, so I didn't know if we wanted to go over that. I've also have for you the revenue and expenditure reports from April.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then I can give you a list of, I don't have the exact transfers tonight. That's going to be done at town meeting. The accountant's still tweaking those.
Are we going to see those an hour before town meeting?
Yeah, unless I will email them out when I get them, but I would
I
say.
appreciate it,
Yeah,
yeah.
you wouldn't have the actual vote on it. And I'll remember to attach it this time.
That'll be nice.
These are the revenue and expenditure reports.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Yeah, I wouldn't think it. To go over at the departments that we will request transfers for, that would be in deficit, are general services. General services is postage, the copier that we have in our mailroom, and so those items. That one we've increased for FY14 to cover what I believe is a deficit every year. Unfortunately, we have to do a lot of mailings, and we also have to do a lot of certified mail, which is expensive.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second? Does the committee want to go over this line by line right now tonight? Or do you want to go, have the opportunity to review this and then come back?
Just, all he wants to go over is the ones he's looking at, the transfers, is that?
Oh, okay.
Right, I was just going to go over the ones that
Okay,
are going to
good.
be in deficit.
Okay, good.
So we have general services, the expenses,
Page 2.
inspectional services, expenses. The reason,
Did you hire a new person?
we did, yeah, in June 24th, Mr. Robert Iafredi, who is the Lakeville, or former, I'm happy to say, Lakeville Building Commissioner, will be coming on board. You see, he has an
What's his name,
excellent.
Robert what?
Iafredi, I-A-F-R-A-T-E.
Okay.
Being an Irishman from Rhode Island, I can spell Italian names, so.
There you go. Okay, good, okay.
Yeah, he comes highly recommended from Mr. Moore. So,
That's the guy that came to our committee and talked to us.
No, David Moore was the one that came to us. Yeah. He didn't want the job.
No,
He was just covering.
he's retired, and his wife is probably one of the happiest people to have this new gentleman on board, so she can
Yes,
get him
sure
back.
she is.
So, inspectional services will have a roughly $3,000 deficit in their expenses line. The reason for that is Mr. Moore's paid as a contractor, not a salaried employee, so we'd move from their salary. Health department, theirs is an expenses as well. They did not have they really have been doing a lot more work, and their budget for fuel was probably lower than it should be. We've adjusted that for FY14. They did have room in their salaries. Streetlights, as I said before, really, that one's really hitting us. We're anticipating about $50,000 in overages. That's going, where we're pulling that from is the town administrator salaries. We have the extra funds. I'd hope to roll that out for other things, but luckily we have it.
Taking one from the team.
Yep. Workers' compensation would be roughly about $3,000. FICA is going to be $28,000. If you remember at the beginning of the year, we had thought about the transfers for FICA. They've been an issue every year. We have adjusted that for FY14's budget and brought that up to $430,000 from $406, and with the actual reduction in salaries, we should be right on target.
Okay.
Veteran services that's another tough one. That's one we received reimbursement a year later through the state aid, but you only receive 75%, and that thing is really, that's skyrocketed, and I'll tell you what, that if it was 100,000, I wouldn't squawk about paying it.
No, I wouldn't either.
No, it's going to continue to skyrocket, is my guess.
Yep. Yeah, this town has a long history of active duty, so. Municipal maintenance expenses from their salary line, and then the police is the final department, so.
Okay.
So if you look, it's really been, our departments have done really well. The police is an issue, but we're not seeing almost, I believe last year and more so the year before, you had almost half the departments transferring to one another, so. The general services, as I said, I think we've resolved out the FY14 budget. The streetlights in FY14 are going to be a real issue. I think whatever maintenance is there, we're probably not going to do anything to be able to afford the electricity. So those are the ones that we'll look for transfers, and we're still double checking. We're asking anybody, if you have bills on your desk, turn them in, let us know. Don't be afraid, don't hide them, don't do anything, just please let us know. That's one of the tough things people don't understand, is we can look at the system all day long, and if those bills that are outstanding haven't been turned in, we don't know about it.
Exactly.
So, the memos have.
That irritates me worse than anything in the world right now. I don't know, from an accountability standpoint, if there's bills sitting on their desk and you've asked for them, they haven't turned them in, that's just unacceptable in my opinion. We're trying to, not we, but you are trying to put together a year-end number that makes sense. And if people are taking and not doing it, then they're not looking out for what we're trying to do as a town. So, I can't just lightly say, hey, that's bad. It's a terrible thing. It's beyond terrible. That's not something that should be acceptable at all at this point.
Go ahead.
Going through you to dirt. On the streetlight issue, I don't know if, where I live, it was a dark street, so we actually had a streetlight put in, which we paid for ourselves. Is that something that, if it becomes a real problem, is it mandatory that we, that the town has to pay for streetlights? Could every other one be turned off and still be a safety, legality? I don't know the law, or I know it's a safety issue with lawsuits and things like that. But, it's not super expensive. We pay, I think it's $7.26 a month for a streetlight.
Yeah, to turn the street lights off, believe it or not, it costs $250.
I'm sorry?
It costs $250 to turn off an individual street light. We can't do it ourselves. We have to have them to come in.
You just pay to turn it off, you mean?
Yeah. Just,
no kidding.
Yeah, so, you've lost, if there's $100 worth of electricity in a year.
That's 2 years, just for 1 year, just to shut it off. That doesn't make sense.
No, okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Tom?
Can you explain the $250? I could do it with a BB gun.
You don't want to say that on tape.
Yeah, it's not, we don't do it, it's what we're charged, because we have to actually have, whether it's N-Star or one of the companies come out and do it.
And if you do it with a BB gun, they have to come out and fix it, which costs more to do.
All right, anybody? Okay. Next, Mr. Town Administrator?
Yeah, I think the next thing I'd like to go to, if possible, is the union agreements for the laborers and town custodians and the EMS department. Yeah, and then I have their.
Thank you.
Here. So at town meeting, what we're going to be asking for is to ratify these contracts. Because it's a special town meeting, it's the action, it takes action in this fiscal year. The municipal maintenance one, any of the monetary items don't start till the beginning of the next fiscal year. So that's why we would just ask for the ratification. At this time, we don't need a transfer. In October town meeting, we will need a transfer of approximately $5,200. So there's, we have that in collective bargaining lines set aside that we've established specifically for this. Fortunately, one of the things is, as well as the 2 to 3% buffer, as we were talking about, if you could budget that, then you can absorb the collective bargaining agreements. This is unfortunately another one of the issues that we have when we're doing these agreements in arrears. These are going back 2 years for fiscal 12 and fiscal 13, which means next year we'll be right back at the table. But in working with them, we'll hope to have 3-year contracts and be able to plan going forward.
Okay. So we need to vote on Article 10?
Yeah, Article 7, if you look at Article 7, I'll start with them. That's the custodians, municipal maintenance and custodians. The value is there's 4 employees, and the value is about $440 per employee. And so that's for over a 2-year agreement. There was 0 increases to their base. The increase is due to a weekly on-call stipend during the snow and ice for them to come in. So when we are hopefully home, they're the ones that are on the road doing the snow and ice and going in there and dispatching. And these were the guys during the, and then the guys being a gender neutral term, because we have people in the office that come in there and leave their homes as well, that do a great job. So the other thing I'd like to remind everybody is that they took that all of our employees took a cut in their health care starting in FY14, or I should say an increase in their cost, 5%.
5%.
So if somebody's on the family plan, which costs us roughly about $18,000, their new costs are going up by $900, and we're essentially only giving them $450 or $440 back. So this is a net loss to them, and I appreciate their help on getting the agreement done.
Well, that's good that you did.
Do we consider our vote, or?
I basically, I think we can just, we didn't vote it
We didn't vote.
We didn't vote it at all.
Okay.
We didn't vote on any of them,
Then I'll
so.
make a motion for favorable action on Article 7. That's probably close enough for what we need.
Second.
All those, any discussion? I'm sorry. All those in favor of approval of Article 7?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay.
Article 10 is for the EMS, and it will be Wareham Professional Firefighters EMT Association. There are 8 members. There's 9 people that work in it, but Mr. Evans is part of the Steel Workers Union as the department head. Their true cost is $200 that's being increased for the clothing and cleaning benefit. So we are adding that to their base salary as well, which going into the future will have some costs with retirement and such, but it's within level of everybody else if we're getting what the numbers have been. So altogether with the $200 on 8 people, that's $1,600, and we don't need a transfer. We're just asking to ratify the contract as well.
You have a question?
Is it-
Tom?
This is just as part of the negotiations on the retirement benefit. Is there any move to change how the pensions are being, whether they become a defined benefit or not? We looking at going to the more private industry approach to pension plans.
We don't have that option. We're part of the Plymouth County Retirement Service, so we'd have to do it with all of Plymouth County. The town can't individually do that.
So when you negotiate this, the pension plan is not part of the negotiations?
No.
You can't.
Oh, I think Tom was referring to whether it's defined contribution or defined benefit.
Yeah.
I think new hires are coming in different
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their contributions are set forth by Plymouth County. So what they have to pay is what it, so we can have input as part of Plymouth County, but the town can't say that 20% of your salary goes towards retirement. It's as what's set forth by Plymouth County. So for myself, my contribution rate is 9%, and then if you make over 30,000, you have to do an extra 2, so my full contribution's 11%. That's not set through collective bargaining.
Okay.
Once you get a raise over 30,000.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say that too.
30,001, it's killing me.
I was gonna say.
So what's the net effect of this Article 10? This is $0 till October once again, correct?
This one has its effect, the $200 goes back to, it's for fiscal 13. So our cost for fiscal 13 would be $1,600. And they have that within their budget, so we're not asking for a
Okay.
transfer.
Go ahead now.
Just one question I noticed, one of the conditions were that all members, municipal maintenance was that all members were going to participate in direct deposit.
Correct.
And I don't notice there's a condition here. Is that something that you're trying to affect town-wide? Because there's got to be some minimal cost savings there anyway.
There is, we're trying to get everybody in direct deposit. There's only a few people that don't do it. It's also, I have to be blunt, it's great for the employee. They get it, you have it in there Thursday mornings. You don't have to worry about it, and we don't have employees going off to the bank during lunch, and,
So I just want to applaud you because I think that's a good, small step that we can take.
Okay. Anybody do you have something?
No, what's up, make
Okay, anybody else?
a motion, I'll make a motion. For Article 10, favorable action?
Second.
Okay. No further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous.
Are we still talking about the special town meeting?
Hmm.
On the vehicles.
yes.
What we were looking at the other day were not, they were quotes. They weren't sent out for RFP. Those are the quotes. Those are just quotes, generic quotes for us.
Right, because there's a state bid list for where you can go for vehicles and such. So in the actual article, even, I'm going to ask for $238,000 for 3 patrol vehicles to purchase and equip 3 patrol vehicles and 2 supervisor SUVs.
Okay.
Three patrol cars and,
2 supervisor SUVs.
so you're asking for 5?
Yes, it's 5 altogether.
I thought it was 3.
It's 5.
Wasn't it 3 last week?
No, it was 5. It was 5 the whole time. That's one of the things that we talked about, is I felt more comfortable with 4, but in the absence of,
Would you start saying I'm switching it up on you?
keep
No, they
changing
knew
the
there were
dollar.
3 patrol cars, but we didn't know what the other 2 were. That
Yeah,
was
and
the
then
problem.
they
They hadn't
came back.
defined what they were looking for.
Oh, okay. All right. That's gonna,
Anything else I can give you now?
that's gonna be a fun night on those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any other thing for us?
I don't believe so.
All right.
Unless there's something that outstanding.
Go ahead, yeah.
So we are not gonna do any voting on any of the other union articles?
We don't have any answers, do we?
Right, that's what I'm just asking,
Exactly.
we're just gonna leave it blank. as
Yeah,
a
we don't have
motion.
any information, so we're
Nope.
unless
Let's
we have some information next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock.
just answer my question, thank you.
Is it-
Tuesday, I'm sorry, Tuesday.
Man, you're scaring me to death.
What night? It's Tuesday, not
Tuesday.
Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Thank you.
The 18th.
Selectmen did that so they could get out of.
Okay. All right, then, thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, before we go to the next article, we need to, we're supposed to make an announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that announcement? Let me go ahead and make that announcement now, I'm sorry. There will be a pre-town meeting at 6:30 in the cafeteria in the, auditorium. Sorry, auditorium. I didn't write it down, I apologize, I wasn't paying attention.
I did.
Tomorrow night.
The
At
high
6:30.
school auditorium or the town hall auditorium?
Town
Town
hall.
hall.
Town hall
auditorium.
auditorium, okay.
Tomorrow night at 6:30. It's actually done very well, when we watched them.
Okay, all right, let's move on to open positions for the FinCom. We have 3 applications, and I know we have 2 folks here this evening, and I would like to, first of all, invite up David Hurd. Mr. Hurd, will you come up and join us?
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you.
Good night, Derek.
Just to let folks know that we're going to be, the appointing authority is going to be meeting on the, Claire?
Next week.
25th. Yes, give them an idea,
Well,
okay?
we're only appointing one.
No, we're appointing 3.
We're not appointing anybody.
No,
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's what I was
yeah,
saying, this isn't
we're
something that we
appointing
vote.
3. Right, that's why, Mr. Hurd, thank you for joining us, and from what I read about you, you have a very impressive resume, and I think you, what made you want to come to the FinCom? I guess that's going to be my question, and then I'm going to pass it around to other folks. I don't want to beat it to death, I just want a brief explanation.
I've had a history of contributing to towns where I've lived. I've tried to do that wherever I've been. And I think that I've been on the finance, I've worked with the hospital on the board of directors of the hospital in town. I've been on the board of appeals. I've been elected town meeting members. So I've tried to contribute to the town, and I think that the finance committee is one of the areas that is probably I won't say as important as all of them, but it's a very important position, and I think I can help in that. I have financial experience, I have business experience, and I think I can be a contributor to the FinCom.
Good. Anyone?
What towns do you have experience, what towns have you?
I was in Plymouth as a town meeting member, elected town meeting member, and on the Board of Appeals. I served there, and I was on the board of directors of the Jordan Hospital for close to 20 years.
Well, I apologize because I don't have the application. What was your professional background?
I'm an engineer
He's a mechanical engineer.
by education. I have a master's in business.
Anyone else have any questions? Go ahead, Mr. McDonald.
I met you earlier.
Yes, we did.
One of the things that I had to deal with personally, and I'm sure everybody in here, including Tom, will tell you, and since you've worked with towns, this may not be such a big jump for you, but for a lot of us, that public are out there in the private industry coming into here where there's a definite set of rules that are different than there. But you've worked with towns, so have you already seen some of that?
I've seen some of it. It's going to be an education.
Okay.
I recognize that it's going to be an education for me also.
It is. There are boundaries you can't cross, and I didn't know that for at least a good year. I tried to cross many boundaries my first year, but
You still do.
I didn't know. But that is one of the things I just, I be cognizant of when you work with the finance committee or when you're on the finance committee there. Sometimes you get real frustrated because you can see the way to do it right, but you have a charter over here in Mass General Law that says this is how you can do it. And so I just, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions?
How long have you been in, how long have you lived in Wareham?
I vacationed in Wareham since probably 1950. My family's been, my grandfather met my grandmother in Onset in 1912. I've lived here, I've owned property here for about 15 years.
Any other questions? Well, this being one of my very last meetings, as a FinCom member, I commend you for coming forward. And I'll tell you one thing about this board, and one thing I've learned, municipal finance and regular business finance is really different. Tom still struggles with it every meeting. However, we are a group, and I take a lot of pride in our group. We are not political in any way. Whatever our political affiliations are, we leave them when we walk through the door. We debate, we argue, but we always have the ability to go down to the Narrows or wherever afterwards and have a beer or soda or a tea. We're a wonderful, hard-working group, and I want to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity of working with you all. It's been nothing but a pleasure, and I look forward to in the future. But I am so glad that you came forward, Mr. Hurd. We will be meeting, I believe, on the 25th. We will be voting. The town moderator is part of the appointing committee, and the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and the chairman of the finance committee. And we will be making our decision. The decisions will be made that evening.
Very good.
Okay? And I thank you very much for coming forward.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joan Fonts is with us. A lot of my colleagues haven't had the opportunity to, it's just a form Marilyn's filled out.
I actually had seen hers.
Okay, she's a legal secretary. Okay, good. Thank you, Larry.
Well, I didn't fill it out, I think they're.
Okay. All right,
I wasn't prepared for
Joan.
this evening.
Pardon?
I wasn't prepared for this evening.
Well, there's nothing to be, don't worry about it. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the FinCom.
Well, for the past couple of years, I've been involved with, as you all know, Contract 2. And so I've been very involved with the Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee and going through those issues. My background is, I've been retired now for 6 years. I've worked 50 years in the legal profession. Started out as a legal secretary and all the way up. And I've worked in the city of Boston for about 40 years.
Wow.
Worked in California, Department of Motor Vehicles. It's all been in the legal field. So this is why with finance, my concern is the residents of the town to protect their interests. And I find that in the finance committee, there's a lot of involvement there that you reach out to all the departments in the town. I'm rambling, but I'm waiting for questions.
No, you're not. We've got another legal eagle here.
And I was just going to point out, as Donna was saying, that there's a disconnect between what makes sense in the business world and what's allowable under municipal finance.
Yeah.
The same thing holds true with what you just said, and part of what Donna talked about, politics, is also something that I think should be said here, so you can interview us as well as we're interviewing you. I come from a background of paralegal, and I came with biases and some projects that I wanted to support coming on here. And you do realize when you look at the numbers that our decisions are made from a financial point of view for the good of all the town. And it sometimes becomes very difficult when you have to look and say that what you would really like to see happen isn't something that we can necessarily make happen here. And when I say a political decision, I really refer to something that is up to the Board of Selectmen to make a decision on. We can do research, we can give them facts, we can give them information, we can give them advice and suggestions, but ultimately they have to act on it. So you have to, I think, the general public sometimes doesn't understand what our job is. We are an advisory board. So if you think you can change something, you really don't have that luxury.
No, I understand that.
It's,
Absolutely.
but we would welcome all willing volunteers who have an understanding of what is involved.
Anyone?
But we make a lot of noise.
We do. And we're very, I like to think that we're a very well-respected board because we're not biased. And a lot of us have come on with preconceived issues that we thought and once you sit down and you listen to the whole picture, you really change. Go ahead, Ms.
I
McDonald.
was gonna say that I remember you from contract two, and what I said
But I'm
is.
trying to put that behind me and go
Well,
forward
now you do it on,
with
now you
other-
have to find a way to pay for it.
Exactly, absolutely. And I'm ready for that, I really am.
That's actually what I was gonna say, is it probably would have been better for you to come on the finance committee before the contract two discussion.
Absolutely, I wish I had.
Because part of what we saw, it wasn't seen by several people, including the people in the contract, because it just wasn't seen that way.
It took a while to
Right.
get that
It
across.
sinks in after a while, but in the end, I appreciate you coming. Fine.
So, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Tom?
What is contract two?
Where is contract two?
What is it?
Oh, it was regarding the sewer,
Oakdale and
the
Cohasset.
betterment.
Remember the
Oakdale and
betterment?
The
Cohasset,
betterment.
that we argued the issue and we went from 22,000 to 18,000. That they all tend to hate us for it, but,
No, they don't.
No.
No.
but
I do.
Okay.
he does.
And we're honest, we're brutally honest.
Thank you, yeah. We're aware of that.
They also thinks everybody ought to pack their lunch at school too, whether they're freaking out.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you for coming.
All right,
and
that
Thank
was
you for,
easy then. Okay.
thank you for expressing your interest in the finance committee, and we will
Good
meet,
luck.
like, as I said, we will be meeting on the 25th.
Great, thank you.
Now, we don't have, the third one is not here, Marilyn Jordan. I left a message for her too, but I don't see her here.
Okay.
And Marilyn is a office manager for accounting, a real estate agent, resident of Wareham for 40 years.
She also worked with Joan on contract too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I beg your pardon, what did
She
you
was-
She also worked with Joan on contract too.
Okay, okay.
Did you say
Is she the
that?
young one? Was she the young one that was always speaking at the school?
No, that's gone.
Oh, that's gone, okay, okay, I wasn't sure.
Did you say you had 40 years of paralegal experience?
No, she was in it.
Right, she's got me taught.
Any new business?
Well, first we got, yeah, there is new business. Pardon me, but he's not here.
Who?
Alan, the selectmen voted on a policy last night to fund the stabilization through free cash. So our prodding or gentle, we can't take credit for it because obviously in the papers it's already announced that Derek and the selectmen did it, but
Or whatever, however it happened.
well, how did it happen? Well, because we asked them.
No, I know that.
You don't get any credit. Come on.
What if there isn't any free cash?
Well, then we don't get anything funded to the stabilization, but typically there is free cash that falls to the line. I mean, I don't think that we've been in a negative situation in the last 3 years. It's, the point is, they're not gonna be able to fund it through operating. The revenues just don't support that. This is a way for us to fund stabilization, and at least it's a plan to fund it,
But there's no amount committed to it.
Well, there is an amount committed to it. It's at 200,000, it's $100,000 comes to the stabilization fund, and that's why I need Alan to make sure these numbers are correct, but I think I'm right. And if it's anything under 100,000 or anything under 200,000, it's 50% goes to the stabilization fund. And we might need to get him to clear up the numbers, but I think I'm correct. Anybody that was there last night could tell me that without too much, but no.
That's all right. So, that's a bit of a success, what?
The selectmen voted on a policy to fund stabilization. I believe that they voted, the number amount was if it was 200,000 or more, there was 100,000 to the stabilization. If it was anything less than 200,000, it was 50% to the stabilization. So that, now again, the policy's a great thing, but we just have to make sure that we continue to reiterate that while we support them, they need to support the policy. So that's a good thing. We asked for that, and I think it helps my conscience a little bit. I was taking money out of the stabilization fund, so.
Doesn't help me, but.
I know.
I'm still, don't think we should raise that account, but, all right. Liaison reports, do we have anything? Okay. Do we have minutes to
Yes.
read here? Okay. Can I have a,
We'll make a
like
motion
an entertain motion here?
to approve the minutes from the May 29, 2013 meeting.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 6-0.
0-0.
All right, the next meeting date and time will be next Wednesday evening, Tuesday evening, I'm sorry. Why do I keep saying
I
Wednesday?
don't know, is it the 18th?
It's the 18th. It's the 18th, and I'd like to meet probably at, why don't we call for a meeting at 6 o'clock? Before, we need 6 o'clock or 6:30?
Let's do 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, all right, 6
I
o'clock
have-
in the cafeteria?
I have the motions for the special meeting.
Oh, you do?
I'll work on the, getting the ones for the,
Okay,
we should have the others, but I want to make sure they're all right.
okay, good, good. All right, so 6 o'clock,
Do you want to go ahead and announce the other meeting too, because I'm, you want to do it another town meeting?
Right, so the next meeting after that will be,
what do we have?
I'm trying to, you gotta give me a minute, I have it somewhere. I was going there to look in and I got no connection, so.
So the 26th. Well, the 26th, the only thing you need really is on the
Yeah.
26th is reorganization.
26th.
That's the 25th. Yeah, 25th, yeah. Okay. All right,
It'll be a
good.
short meeting.
Yep. So the 26th will be the reorganization
Be
meeting.
there early.
Which,
26th.
26th.
okay.
Yes.
If we have to go on the third night, we have tentatively scheduled the 26th and 27th.
We can readjust.
26th, okay.
I hope we don't have to go that many nights. Seriously?
You know what, if that happens, we can take care of what we have to before
the meeting.
Before the meeting. Because we'll be having a short meeting. All right, barring any other business, ladies and gentlemen, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed?